Hey everybody, it's Plant-Based Chat Day. We're here with Racheal Detroit, and what we're going to be doing is kind of our meditation and movement. But first, we are going to kind of talk about some different topics, and there's going to be more of this in my world. So, we talked with Dr. Steph last month. We're going to see her again this month talking about how to get rid of some of the toxins in our house. We're talking with Racheal, who's a life coach and a personal trainer who does all the things. So that's why she's helping us kind of start making this exercise routine. And if you're on my mailing list, you know that I have been exercising more. And kind of a lot, and I'm trying to figure out some of this stuff. So when Racheal and I were talking right before this, and Racheal, do you want to give yourself an intro and maybe talk about some of your services? We'll do this in the beginning and the end. Yay, Apple's here.
Yeah. Do you want me to do it now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm Racheal Detroit, and I'm a life coach, a lifestyle coach. And I believe in empowerment through lifestyle changes. So we want to transform our life. We want to optimize our capabilities. We want to feel good. We want to, achieve in our careers, in our family life, in our relationships, and so on and so forth. And it's really dependent on the lifestyle that we create. So I help folks realign these 6 aspects of lifestyle medicine: sleep, hygiene, substance intake, social connections, stress management, physical movement, and nutrition, so that we can optimize the quality of our life and achieve, perform, meet all these goals that we want to meet.
That's awesome. And I know we've talked a little bit about it last time. We did more meditation and movement, which we are going to get to too, but I have some questions too. So, and Apple says it's wonderful seeing this collab between the two of us. She loves it.
Yay!
Because you're putting stress as a different category, right? Wasn't it sleep? Oh my God, now I can't read my handwriting. Sleep, substance.
Yeah, these are the 6 aspects. If one is to look up lifestyle medicine, it's like a growing body, a growing field of the medical field. Lifestyle medicine, it's sleep, hygiene. These are the 6 pillars, and you can Google it. It's a growing body. There's a growing body of evidence around these 6 pillars. But your sleep, hygiene, substance intake, your social connections, your stress management, physical movement, and nutrition, these 6 aspects, they determine whether or not, obviously, it's 80% of them determine disease outcomes, prevention, longevity, and all of those things.
Okay. I guess I'm surprised seeing stress in a whole other category, but it's very interesting because I get super stressed, and I've been very stressed this week. So it's very interesting to think of it as its own thing, because I always think, I'm stressed, I should go for a walk, or I should meditate, or I should do, and it's not saying that that's a bad thing to do, but it's so funny that I see stress and I go to something else, kind of like, I'm hungry, I need to fix some food, right? Are there some other things that you would say, what are your top 3 stress management ideas for beginners?
For beginners. So the first thing that I would definitely implement, meditation, and folks are afraid of it a little bit, and it only has to start with 5 minutes. You can get on YouTube, you can look up a 5-minute guided meditation, or you can sit in silence for 5 minutes, and people are like, well, I don't do it right because my brain doesn't stop. Well, that's actually how it's called a meditation practice. And so how we practice is by putting ourselves in this situation more and more so that we can get better. We don't get better without practicing. So meditation would be one, as a reliever. So your brain is right to think to that. Exercise is a huge stress reliever. And here's the other one that I think that is empowering, and it's the power of saying no as a stress management routine.
And because
and
that's hard. It's hard for some people. It's not hard for others. It's hard for me. It's probably what I should be saying. And even today, I'm taking some things and I'm pulling it in, calmly looking at it. What can be moved? What doesn't have to get done today? Which is not exactly the power of no, but in a way it's me telling like the person inside that wants to freak out because I got to do everything now. I have to do everything perfectly and I'm already messed up, right? That's how my stress starts to go, whoa. And Racheal got to see some of it because we had moved the keyboard and mouse for this computer somewhere else and it wouldn't connect. So I'm like calling Cheryl, I'm like, what did you do? How did we get this fixed, right? And so stress can be something just that tiny or it can be something big because it's tax week, right? And one of the things that I made yes, all of you people have done your taxes and you're awesome and I'm super impressed. However, I am not. I'm still waiting on one more 1099, which I think just came in the email right before this. But then I realized I have till Tuesday. I didn't even look it up. I have till Tuesday. We're going away for the weekend, but I can still go away for the weekend, come back on Monday, and do my taxes that I've already started, right? Do you ever find that like with your stress, that it's like it starts out being something small, and then your mind just says all of this crap that's just not real?
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about two different points with this. So the renegotiation of commitments. So the first thing you mentioned, which was like you're looking to see where you can move around. I would definitely coincide that with the power of no, right? Like renegotiating what you're going to spend your time on, and not being afraid to tell someone that you must renegotiate this commitment. And that's such a stress reliever. So that's to that piece. But the monkey mind, the monkey mind is what they call it in Buddhism. And with more and more meditation practice, you start to create this space, this room in your brain where you're able to differentiate the true from the false more and more. In meditation, developing a practice helps you do that. So when all these thoughts come in, and they're just on, like, my brain will tell me, sometimes I go grocery shopping, I've lost a bunch of money, I forgot to pay 10, and really I've just been sitting here, like none of that happened. And so it's this, I'm like, wow, we did a lot today.
Right.
And
your mind it's like, I should have burned 50,000 calories from all the thoughts that I had today, right?
Yeah. And it's just knowing that they come in laughing. Sometimes lately my technique is that like my brain will say something that's just, and I just laugh. I'm like, oh, that's funny. Like, you're so cute, Racheal. That's funny, But
I definitely like that. And that's very interesting. And another thing that we talked about right before this that I wanted to bring back up too, because we were talking about some things that Racheal had said, and over here, when you see me looking over here, I'm taking notes. So I don't know if you guys, I'm a big note taker. It says, when you're trying to do something new or make a lifestyle change, be that with food, stop eating meat, stop eating cheese, or eating more healthfully, however you're fitting your goals, or to exercise more or move more. She was saying you don't have to be good, but you have to believe in yourself. And I thought that was a really interesting point that we could talk about too, because I think what can be difficult when you're in the space of like, well, I'm trying to do X, because like for me, like I've written a bunch of cookbooks, right? But I've took this woman's class who's awesome, and she's like, why are you here? You've written 3 cookbooks. And I'm like, lots of people have written 3 cookbooks. That doesn't mean I can't learn something, right? So I have to go to like the nth degree to be like, okay, I'm good at writing cookbooks. Like I can say that now after writing over 10 of them. And I'm good at recipe development. I've done over 1,000 recipes, right? But if you're like exercise, and this will be my 24th day in a row of exercising. So like, and one of the reasons I'm trying to build it up this way is that seeing those numbers help me give me a foundation of a fact. Because when you go, oh, I can't possibly exercise every day. Well, you sure did for 24 days. Right? So, so for me, a lot of times I need these facts. So when you say you don't have to be good to believe in yourself, how do you talk to your clients about setting that up, that mental space up?
Right. I love that. And it's about, when we have goals, when we have what something we want to meet, it's about like being in reality a lot of times. So talking to my clients will work from where they're at. And it's all about being realistic. Like we don't go from, you can't lift 5 pounds to you're a bodybuilder and you have six pack abs and all of these muscles and you do 3 hours. It just doesn't work that way. So with my clients, what we talk about is consistency, persistence, and when, not if, right? Because like it's going to happen, but when you have downfalls, when, not if, when you have downfalls, how do we come back up? How do we deal with that? What are the ways? And so this idea of believing in yourself, it's like you have to, they have to, everyone, we have to believe that we will, no matter what, and it's a fact, right? If you do something every single day, if you continuously work on the same thing, no matter how terrible you are at it from the start, as time goes on, you're going to be better than when you started, right? And it's this common belief in the fact that if I stay committed, even if it's difficult, even if I have setbacks, even if I'm not performing where I want to perform, in due course, you're going to definitely be further than where you started.
I love that. I love the way that you're thinking about that. And one of the things that Howard Jacobson, when he coaches, is one of the first things that he teaches you is how to deal with failure. So I think it's really important. I think a lot of times people who have perfectionistic tendencies, like even, for me, like if today I didn't do anything, it would freak me out right now. So I would have to go to that space of, well, I didn't do any exercise today. What does that mean? What am I afraid of? And a lot of times for me, it's if I don't do it this one time, I'm never going to do it again. And then kind of going through that and like, is that true? Is that not true? Which person in your head is talking, right? Is it the person who's like your support, or is it the person who's always the voice that's trying to tear you down?
And like half of the things that we say to ourselves and that we believe as like law are lies, right? So like, for example, if you did skip exercising today, does that really mean that you'll never do it again? Is that fancied or is that real? No, that's fancied. You're making it up. It doesn't mean you're not going to do it tomorrow. It means perhaps your body is telling you something. And perhaps what that means is like, and this is the other thing. I'm an advocate of daily physical movement, but it doesn't mean hours of daily physical movement. It means, like for example, mine today, I usually work out every day. Not usually, I work out every single day. Today it looked like a 10-minute yoga, a 10-minute walk, and then my little stretch thing is over here, and then stretching my calves. It's not, and that's like what is, like what I would consider less than I usually do. But all that matters is this like, for our bodies, for cellular regeneration, it's like our body wants to move, it wants to heal. And sometimes what it needs is a little bit less.
And I do totally get that. And like, so what I've been kind of looking at, because we were going to talk a little bit about routine. So this kind of, I love hearing what your light day routine is. Like yesterday was fairly light day. I actually got a treadmill and then I got this cool desk thing. So I was testing it out. And I mean, I walked like 20 minutes on it at just really slow. But I found out I can type and everything. You guys probably got if you're on the newsletter, you got the thing saying, I'm blaming all my typos on that. But it's really me, if there are any typos. But I was like, woo, this worked really well. And then we had a bunch of errands to do. So with walking and packing up some stuff that I'm bringing to someone and bending and lifting, and we're doing a lot of cleaning. And our bodies are telling us very clearly that that's a lot of exercise. Because like we're lifting heavy boxes, we're taking them up and down stairs, we're doing stuff like that. So I'm trying to look at that too and add it in. So yesterday, while I didn't do like speed walking on the elliptical or go on the spin bike or something like that, I still met all my goals on my watch and everything else. So I felt pretty good about that. And so far, I'm trying to think, the lightest recovery day, I think I walked a little bit, maybe like 15 minutes. I did 2 rejuvenative yoga classes, which is not for exercise, it's for my brain and stretching, right? So, and then for me, I did my first 10-minute weight class because my upper body is just like, now I can tell that like my quads and calves are already like, yeah, walk, yeah, spin bike. And then I go, ooh, let me get the 2-pound weight out now.
And you'll move up. It takes persistence. And I want to touch upon what you said about doing the lifting of the boxes and doing like the housework and utilizing it as your physical movement. And I want to give this piece of advice, advice for sure. This piece of coaching towards that is like when there is like a household um, physical activity that is physical movement, don't downplay it, right? In your brain, right? This is all about what is coaching? Coaching is rewiring your brain to perform and like overcome barriers and obstacles. You could, right? I don't like to should on people, but you could tell your brain, right? Today's daily physical movement, my exercise, my workout today is this lifting of the boxes. So when you're doing the work, right, you focus on your posture, put your shoulders back. When you're lifting things, you can get, like use that time. This is me squatting, but use that time, use the thing. And like, even though regardless, your body knows it's physically moving, but when you tell your brain, right, you're letting your brain know like, oh, we're not skipping. We're not putting you on the back burner. We're staying with this goal. And today, what it looks like is getting things done in the house. So it's like this whole like we have to rewire what our brains tell us that like, oh, that's not good enough. We didn't do what we are supposed to. It's not enough. Instead, tell your brain what a great job for doing all this physical activity, workout, housework.
I love that because like Cheryl and I are both trying to do some of this together. But to get the elliptical in my office, which has been like not able to get into because of all the boxes and stuff, Cheryl's been lifting and taking boxes up and down the stairs and then out to other places. And so that has been a lot of her workout this past week. And Apple was also saying, I'm appreciating you two for affirming the benefits of gentle activity. Not all of us want or can go hard. And I totally agree with that too. And I think I liked what you said. You have to start where you are, wherever that is. And so for me, and I'm going to talk about this a little more to all of you guys, but I have to lose a certain amount of weight. I think my first goal is like 24 pounds for health reasons. And I'll get into more details about that. So I'm not here to tell you to lose weight. I would never do that. And I don't like to talk about losing weight because then people make a lot of assumptions about me sometimes. Sometimes people decide I'm trying to get them to eat a certain diet, but I support you on the eating plan you choose, right? You can do Dr. Estelston, you can do Dr. Campbell, okay, I can support vegan keto because I just don't have the recipes for that. But like if you're just like a normal vegan, I can support that. Okay, then you talk to Racheal for vegan keto because I do low fat, high carb stuff. But other than someone who's a carnivore or a keto person, I can support you, but I'm not trying to make you into any of those. And I want everyone who's seeing this to know, just because I'm upping my exercise and I'm trying to lose some weight, and I'm not trying to be this big, I'm just trying to lose X amount of weight right now. That doesn't mean when I'm talking with Racheal or we're talking to you that I want you to do anything. If you are happy and healthy, I just want to be here for you and have you be part of the community and us all support each other. So just because Racheal, this is probably the first time ever I've talked about weight loss out in the, community at all. So that's why I'm making that disclaimer. And because of that, it's also a little frustrating because now I'm weighing myself. I'm doing all the stuff that I've kind of spent a lifetime getting away from. And so it's very interesting to kind of look at myself in that way. I don't know if that makes any sense. So that is why I am trying to exercise every day and do some cardio. But I'm also reading some confusing stuff. And maybe other people are confused. Maybe it's just me. About and that's why I thought a routine, like a nice weekly routine for someone to do 20 to 30 minutes of exercise that balances out the week, because it doesn't seem like, okay, restorative yoga, that's not going to lose me any weight, right? It probably will lessen my stress and lessen my cortisol levels, so it supports that. So it's not that I'm going to stop doing it. And in fact, if I do a spin class, and I've been loving these spin classes. I haven't done any of this in years. We just got this bike and I'm like, let's see if it works. And it's sad. It makes me feel like total basic white girl, but it is Peloton that I'm doing all the things. And I do love me a pumpkin spice latte, so it's not untrue. But what I liked when I did exercise before the pandemic is I would go someplace and I'd either have a personal trainer or I'd go to group exercise classes. I like having that outward support so that I can turn my brain off and I do the thing they show me while they're doing it. And I don't have to think about anything. I don't have to go, if I'm at home and it's just me in a video, sometimes I'm like, well, I'm pretty tired. I could go. And now with the Peloton, it's like timing me and taking my heart it's heart monitoring stuff. And so also I found with the classes that I like so far, they're super supportive about being where you are, right? It's like, go ahead and kick that up another 4 resistance. If you feel like it today. If you don't, be where it is for you. And I feel kind of cheesy that I like that, but it works so good. Or when you finish and they're like, you did a great job. I'm like, thank you.
I don't feel like it's cheesy. I feel like it's nourishing. And like life is really about for some reason we get into adults and we don't love ourselves in this way of how we would treat a little baby, right? Mm-hmm. And it's I think actually it's really kind, and I never go hard. I don't even know what, I did that already. It's not worth it. It doesn't, the health benefits of destroying your body through intense physical activity,
Well,
they
and
just don't fit
it's also kind like I can see, like, I have a friend who is a bodybuilder. So it makes total sense for her to do that.
for her.
When
Yeah.
I was in my 30s, I did a lot of Aikido, a martial art. And I did a lot of yoga so that I could continue doing that martial art because you get thrown up in the air a lot and stuff. And I worked really hard. And there's certain things now, like my knees aren't quite as happy, a few little things from how hard I went younger. And Apple was saying too that Apple doesn't like to talk about dieting and losing weight. I lost weight a few years ago, but it's not the focus of my existence. And exactly, it is still
Yep.
not the focus of my existence. It's something I'm bringing in. And then, except for a couple of little things, we're probably just going to talk mostly about movement, because here's the other thing is what works for one person to lose weight doesn't always work for everybody else. And I am not an expert, and I don't need to be talking about that with everybody, right? You don't, Racheal, you work with people, so there's plenty of people you can go to. Chef AJ also works with a lot of people who want to lose weight. But I do want to have the freedom to talk about it a little bit, because I'm sure someone else out there in the community is kind of doing some similar things. And I want us to, I've always been open and honest with you guys when I'm depressed, when I'm anxious, because we all experience these things. And for me right now, this is just where I am. So hopefully you guys see that and know that I love you guys just as much, no matter where you are. And same thing for me. I'm trying to do what Racheal just said, and kind of really nurture myself where I am. And the Peloton app, which you can get without all this fancy equipment too. And if you guys want a trial, let me know. It's not like an affiliate thing, but you can get a 60-day trial through my link. So if you want to, email me at kathyhester@gmail.com. Happy to do that. I get zero money. But like, they have these meditations and rides. I guess they did a whole mental health month. So I've done the frustration ride when I learned that this was what I needed to do. My life was going to change. And then I was really anxious 2 days ago, and I did their anxiety ride. And it was a beautiful thing, because not only did I work really hard, she talked about her anxiety and how your mind talks. It was just very neat. It was a very neat combo of things I wasn't expecting. And then both of those times, I got off the bike and did like a 30-minute restorative yoga class to just let my mind settle around all the things that happened. Kelly's saying one thing too, and this could be interesting for you to address, Racheal. Kelly says, I get very confused with plant-based doctors doing things differently. It makes it hard to not feel like you're doing the wrong thing. And I do agree with that.
I have some thoughts. Well, my first thing is a lot of the plant-based doctors, our usual suspects, are really focused on this idea of weight loss. And I'll just touch upon that. I don't focus on it either. I don't think I don't think weight loss or gain or number on a scale demonstrates health or feeling good. I don't think it's directly correlated. So I just want to bring one thing upon that is you don't get healthy by losing weight. You actually are healthy first and take care of your body, and then it just regulates into where it's supposed to be.
I love that. That's brilliant, and you need to repeat it one more time.
Yeah, you don't get healthy by losing weight. You actually need to be healthy first, and then you can lose weight. So then your body will regulate. Then it will become what size you're supposed to be. And this whole BMI, all of that shenanigans, all of the mainstream, that causes a lot of disordered eating, a lot of this a lot of the things that are out can cause disordered eating. So I think they have a ortho they call like this obsession with what you're eating clean eating. They call it something. They call everything something.
Orthexia or something. I know exactly what you're
Or
talking about,
yeah,
but I don't know how to say it.
it's like orthorexia or something of being over hyper vigilant about, over analyzing everything you eat as like a clean food. Um, and these plant-based docs, bless them, right? Because so I think as a spectator, right, or as a person doing research or whatever who sees all the different things and like, what are we supposed to do? Do we follow Gregor or Mr. Furman, Dr. Furman, or do I eat only potatoes because that's what's his face said, and it's like, um, it's really about, I support, um, if you're a, eating in your culture, eating in your, where you live, like eating what's available. So for example, I'm Middle Eastern. I lean in towards more the things that like, Middle Eastern people eat. So like parsleys or herbs, lentils and things like that. That's just like one idea. But the truth is I'm going to kind of lay out a food idea that folks could consider, for plant-based eating. It's really about, the science says the earlier we eat, the better, right? So you don't want to eat up until, let's say you go to sleep at 9 o'clock. You don't want to eat up until 7. You want to stop eating like 3 or 4 hours before you take rest for best digestion, gut healing, etc. Right? And when you eat throughout the day, I have read research that supports, you don't want to eat for like, if you're up for 16 hours, you don't want to eat for 16 of them. You want to taper that down. And there's all types of stuff on, what do they call it? Intermittent fasting, which we don't have to get into that because I think that's a specific place. But in terms of like, how do you know if you're doing it right or not, is, are you eating enough? People in the plant-based world will say, well, you don't have to worry about protein. But actually, like regardless of what diet you follow, our bodies need protein to function. So you have to be considerate of, are you getting enough protein? Are you getting enough iron? Are you getting enough omegas, right? On a plant-based diet, those three can go to the wayside. We're not eating fish, we're not eating meat, and we're not eating, well, those two things, right? So I would really like, who's right? Which doctor's right? Do you feel nourished? Are you eating enough green stuff? Green, non-starchy vegetables. There's a lot of science behind it. It's not fake, right? So, I always start the day with a smoothie because right off the bat, you could put chia seeds in it, which hits your omegas and your iron and your fiber right off the bat. You could put like 2 cups of greens in there, which hits antioxidants, helps with the damage of free radicals, helps to regulate blood sugar. You have your bananas, you have your berries, and right to start. You didn't ask me for a meal plan, but it seems like that's what I'm giving. And then, yeah, do you have a thought?
No, I think it's great what you're.
Ooh, I don't hear you, Kathy. I don't know why.
That's because I muted myself because when
Oh,
you were
okay.
talking, so that was me. So no, I love it, and I find myself, because I'm used to dealing with so many of the different doctors, that even when you said smoothie, which I do drink, so like I use some salt. I don't cook with a lot of fat. I kind of save my fat for like vegan cheeses if I've bought one or something like that. So that's kind of where I go. But I know that, I think it's Dr. Greger saw a study that if whatever plan you follow isn't like super keen on smoothies, smoothie bowls seem to be okay. So make it thicker and eat it with a spoon. I just figured we'd get a question about that. So and I know, Racheal, it could just be me, but I love smoothies. And I will suck that puppy down, which means it's getting no digestive enzymes from my mouth, practically. And so, because I like them like ice cream. And so what I've been doing, oh, you too? Okay. So that's when I was like, right before I got the Ninja Creamy, I was like, I can make smoothie bowls. And then, because that way I am eating it slower. It's going through a proper digestive process, and things like that. And with the Ninja Creamy, instead of making like pints of ice cream, which obviously I'm using all super good ingredients, I can put smoothies in there. So like the chia seeds, oatmeal, and actually Apple was making overnight oats in the Ninja Creamy last year. So it's so then you have this bowl of, in the summer, it was a lifesaver. But what I'm hearing from you, Racheal, too, which is kind of good, is that do you feel nourished by what you're eating? And I think that's really important. And I know for me, for right now, and I'll just tell you guys, if you guys have hung in this long, you can know the secret reason why I'm losing weight is I have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So the way to reverse that is for me to lose some fat. So it's literally not that I'm like, my pinky finger hurts, so I'm going to lose some weight or something like this. It's a very medically sort of thing. And again, I'm not looking to be a size 4, but it's still very nerve-wracking. And I think it kind of like Apple was mentioning, and Racheal, you've mentioned too, is kind of like getting into that diet mentality is, it's weird, it's freakish. And, I did some weird eating when I was younger. When I was younger, I had Graves' disease. I have Graves' disease, but what that is meant my thyroid was overactive. So when I was 19, I went to the doctor because my heart woke me up in the middle of the night because I thought I was having like a heart attack or something. And oh my God, I could eat anything and everything. At the time, I was dating a football player, and we would go, and I was obviously not vegetarian yet. I was like 16 then, and we would get like big boy triple hamburgers and fries and shakes and strawberry pie, and then we'd go to my house and eat dinner. And like literally, if I skipped a meal, I would lose some pounds. But that was because my body wasn't right. And then I drank the radioactive iodine. So now I have this, it's very easy for me to put on weight. The past 2 years, my thyroid has not been regulated correctly, and we're working on that. And it was COVID, right? I think all of us got a little discombobulated with that. And so it's very interesting. For me, I'm thinking of myself as my own test subject in a way, like how am I feeling? And that's kind of why I want to talk about some of this too, because like whenever I do the bundle, it always makes me feel a little squidgy that says weight loss in it. And I avoid using that as much as possible because mine's about delicious food that you can eat, my part of it, right? And that's how I like to think about things. And let's see. Oh, Apple, that's great. Apple says, this is the best thing I've seen on YouTube in a long time. Thank you for holding space for this conversation. More, please. Oh, Apple, you melt my little heart. Because part of my anxiety the past couple of weeks, because I'm actually probably going to go on Chef AJ's show and talk about this too, because I feel like I'm coming out, which is weird because you guys know I'm married to Cheryl. It's like with saying I have this thing, because what you guys don't see, because you're kind, lovely people, is that times over my vegan cooking expertise journey, sometimes people say really crappy things about my weight. Someone said something last month, literally got on my Facebook and said, I'm scared to make your recipes. Chef AJ and all of them are thin and you're not. And I'm like, I saw her profile. This was someone, in her, oh yeah, no, totally blocked. But like, I'm like, you're in your 60s and if you're scared to make my recipes, don't make them. I'm not trying to make anybody do anything. Like, that's also why I feel so weird about talking about weight. My journey in getting healthier, which happens to include losing some weight right now, right? Because I feel like sometimes people take these things and do this. It's very interesting. And Kelly says, I've only heard eat smoothies if you want to gain weight. And that is definitely Dr. Campbell. And I think Dr. McDougall, but I'm not positive. But Dr. Campbell, and because some people do need to gain weight. That would have been me before I drank the radioactive iodine. I could not eat for 24 hours and I would lose 5 pounds. I was like 90 pounds, you know? So
I wouldn't take that smoothie. I mean, regardless, I mean, I don't know if these doctors will come after me, but that I wouldn't take that to, you know, because we have Dr. What's her name? I'm so bad with all of them. She's
Goldner? Actually, Apple is talking about Dr. Goldner. And see, that's
she's on there all the time with the smoothies saying weight loss and optimal health and all that. So it really, everyone's got their, you know, school of thought. And I really think I think the whole thing is about optimal health and like proper body functioning. It isn't about telling ourselves, and I don't think like gearing this whole lifestyle change anyone's. I don't think gearing it towards weight loss. That's why when I work with clients, they tell me one of their goals are weight loss, and I don't drill in on that. I don't drill in on calorie deficits, or even though the science behind shows that. It's more about creating like something that feels good, safe, nourishing, non-punishing. I'm going to say that again. Your routine for health needs to be non-punishing. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. I mean, I don't know about but I've definitely done all the diets, the slim fast, the eat this only, eat this on these out. It's not sustainable. Anything that's punishing isn't going to help us. So by having these hard restrictions of like, smoothie's going to make you gain weight, and if you eat rice, then this is going to happen, and oats are going to, it becomes a little bit too violent for ourselves in terms of, you know, we really just want to sustain health. And a smoothie is, listen to me getting defensive about this smoothie. I'm like, a smoothie. But a smoothie is a really good vessel for, you can make it as calorie full and nutrient dense, or as nutrient dense and calorie light, depending on your goals.
It's very true, and because I'm not anti smoothies, and I do know some people are. And if we're talking about smoothies, just like if I say I'm putting some salt in this, but you can use the salt substitute, whenever you see me, know I am about the choices and supporting you. And that's it. Like, we have no agenda here to make the world drink smoothies, you know, but I made them for Cheryl because that used to be the only way I could get greens in her, right? And it worked great. She'd be like, okay, you just made me a chocolate shake. I'll drink the chocolate shake. And it's like, that chocolate shake has broccoli, cauliflower, and 3 kinds of greens in it, right? And if you have a little kid, what I will say, just to kind of a disclaimer for all of our conversations, especially with the heart doctors, if you have a heart issue and you're following them to work with your heart issue, then of course you should listen to them and not me. I make recipes.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I'm happy to support you in that. And everybody has something different. Like, I'm working with my liver right now. So therefore, maybe some things that if you have a heart issue or a lung issue, maybe we don't have the same things that we have to focus on right now. But I like the way you talk about be gentle with yourself. How does it feel? And I think, and again, the disclaimer is that like, if like Dr. Estelstein said, if you don't do 1 through 10, you're going to have a triple bypass in the next 7 days. Don't listen to anything I'm saying. Listen to him. He knows he's done all the science. But if you're just kind of within yourself trying to figure out what works for you and doesn't, because like Racheal, if I was listening to you and I hadn't done this before, I might go, I'm not eating enough greens. Let me try the smoothie thing. And then what I would do is, am I more energized after? Am I fuller? Is it triggering me to eat everything? Like, and if it's a smoothie or if it's a potato chip, I try to think about these things the same way to kind of say, is this suiting my body now? Because something that suited your body a while ago may or may not be serving you right now. Would you agree with that?
I would 100% agree, and I affirm the seeking of a properly appointed authority to deal with, like, if you have heart disease, a heart disease doctor, or, if you're mitigating cholesterol, and so I support all of what you just said. Always seek the properly appointed authority, and always, be flexible with what works now, not what worked 10 years ago. What is it now? The power of now.
Yeah, because I'm trying to do some real yoga too now, and I'm like, whoa, how did I used to do this every day in a class? Because I'm like, now, this is what always happens to most of us. 20 years later, you're like, I was kind of awesome back then. Look at, but I have to, and that's one of the things that's nice for me, not to do any of the programs or teachers that I did then, but start with something fresh, because I'm a fresh body. This 58-year-old body is not my 25-year-old body, right?
Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I'm excited. I want to recommend some YouTubers that you could add, or other folks could add to their routine. Because I hear you saying yoga. There's a yoga person, Yoga with Cassandra. And this person is super awesome because they have 10-minute segments. So it's not like you have to sit through an hour, or not sit through, right? We do it. But to get back into it, it's like a 10-minute yoga, and she is very excellent, but you only have to do it for 10 minutes. So I just wanted to make sure I threw that out in terms of the routine. Like, it's always about starting where you're at. And I do have some other thoughts too to share about creating a program too, like a workout program.
Yeah.
Should I share them? Or, oh, you're muted, I think. Not I think.
Sorry, I try to give you this beautiful space and then I forget I gave you the space. What I was doing was saying thank you so much for being so flexible to kind of have this conversation, whereas we were going to do one thing and now, but it feels so good. And so hopefully it feels really good to you too. And some of the other people, like Apple was saying they love Yoga with Cassandra, and
good.
And also Do Yoga With Me is an online studio. They've been around for 15 or so years. It has a free option. And I interviewed, is it like Yoga Celebrity? I interviewed her. She was in the bundle with a yoga teacher training. That made me say yogurt, and I'm sorry for that. Just combine that right on up.
That's fun. I want some yogurt teacher training.
I know, right?
Sounds tasty.
Here in the vegan community, we don't mud wrestle. We wrestle in vegan yogurt.
Yogurt.
And I think it's Jessamine Stansberry. I'm probably saying, she has some really cool yoga, and what I love, okay, now she curses and does all the things. So if you can't deal with that, I will come back and put a link to hers on there. Just know, because she can be a lot. But what I love is she's a large woman. She's done Nike ads now. Like, she's at least my size or bigger. And she's like, make space for your belly. I'm going to get my belly out of my tights and get it comfortable. Like, I love, because then again, this is another conversation we'll probably have another time. body positivity versus not being healthy. But I think where you are, and you being the generic you, or probably me, is that I need to see bigger bodies sometimes do things. I don't just need to see, I've even used this example. I am never going to be the skinny white yoga teacher on Instagram who's 20, because I'm not, right? And so I think sometimes we think, oh, if I'm going to do this, I have to be this way. Oh, I'm not skinny enough. I'm not whatever enough. My hair isn't long enough to do those beautiful yoga poses on the rocks. Well, I don't want to do a yoga pose on the rock. Tell you the truth, I don't like heights. I don't want to get there. What I want to do is slide off my little bike, slide on my mat in the dark, and do my stuff by myself, right? And that's okay too.
Society has created so many convoluted images for us to like base what health might be, and that's why I don't love the term fitness. Fitness. Well, what does this mean? If you look up fitness, then you're going to see like all these people with six-pack abs and this idea of needing to cultivate these muscles that look like this, etc. And the truth is, right, like because society, in the time period that just passed us from the 50s to now, there's been this like really big push on having this like slim figure or being like a woman who's dainty or, whatever things that have media have portrayed. And the truth is like, it's actually really powerful to be confident in whatever your body looks like, and your body is thankful, right? Your body hears you. So if you're in your brain and you're saying, I'm this, I'm that, whatever name you want to call yourself, I can't do it, I'm never going to make it, I don't look like them, I just can't believe, if you're talking shit to yourself, excuse my language, if you're talking smack to yourself all the time in your body, a lot of times this is another way that we create disease in our body, right? So we think about, okay, I mean, and this is maybe getting a little deeper, a little further, but we have all these autoimmune conditions that our body attacks itself. Well, absolutely, I have a disease where my body attacks itself. I've just thought, and I'm not saying that we create it, I have an autoimmune disease, but I think I could add to the problem. I'm not saying, oh, I thought my way into having MS, but I know that I can think myself deeper into the problem by giving my body hate and judging the way it looks. And so I love this woman who's on there saying, move your body, move your belly, get comfortable, be you. And everyone deserves to move. It doesn't matter what size you are, what society says, if you can lift this much weight, everybody deserves to move. It's super healing.
It's really interesting. I love everything that you said too, because what I found very interesting too is, especially with social media, and there's something lovely about being 50 plus, and that's that you can kind of just watch all the other drama go on instead of in my 20s and 30s, you're into it. But like in the 80s, it was the super skinny androgynous Calvin Klein model, right? And so you can see all these things happening, from Marilyn Monroe, who now would be considered at least before now. Then there's the whole Brazilian butt lift thing where people are kind of appropriating other people's body shapes. It just gets so crazy to me that we can get into all that minutia, and spend all that energy and time instead of spending that energy and time going, hey, this is my body, and maybe I have a small waist, maybe I have a giant waist, maybe I have a big butt, maybe I don't, right? And just go, this is what my body's like. Why do we want to make all of our bodies like somebody else's? Or it's really taking out of yourself and going as someone else. And Graves' disease, by the way, is also an autoimmune disease, and that's one of the reasons that I am gluten intolerant. to roll it all up.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
Apple says, I felt like such a mischief maker when I taught yoga with my fat body. I loved shaking up perspectives. I just wish I could have taken classes with you. I would have loved it.
I
Um,
love shaking the perspectives too. It's so fun. You just shake things up a little bit and see what happens because like life, our opportunity here is, why would we spend it and thinking about like, imagining all these people about like focusing on what others instead of internally focusing. That's a way if we get into the six aspects of lifestyle medicine. When I say substance intake, I also think overthinking, addictive thinking is a substance because we use it to escape our present moment, right? So substances is something, whether you're smoking weed or you're drinking alcohol or you're overeating or you're watching porn, whatever your substance is, I don't care. Overthinking, what you're doing is you're removing yourself from your present time awareness. So it's a lot easier for me to use this substance and obsess about Sue May, who's a 000 and lifting all these crazy weights and hating myself, than to be in my moment and experiencing like, my own experience. So it's interesting to think of it, to allow yourself to think of it as like, oh, I'm actually, by obsessing over what I think that I need to be, we're actually leaving our own reality and we're intaking substances, thoughts. It's like we're snorting thoughts like all day, getting high off of these thoughts that aren't real.
that's really a unique and great way to look at it because I certainly do that. And I've been doing that, certainly the past few days. Getting myself all worked up, and I hadn't really thought of it like that because like for me getting and looking at the stress pillar and things like that, it's a lot about it is about avoidance. It is about not doing things and getting things done. And so that's a really interesting, I'm going to have to think a long time on that, which is
Yeah, it's a
good.
big one to swallow. It's like it's one of my favorite substances, thinking. Oh man, I could think my way, I could tell myself stories, I could and then I'm like, wait, Rachel, actually your life is here. Your life is actually right here. It's happening in real time instead of like all this imagined,
Oh,
not
I like the
imaginated.
imaginated. I've been saying squidgy a lot. I feel squidgy. So imaginated. I like that. Yeah, when you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I
No,
like squishy.
I like imaginated. That's why we're friends.
Right. Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
so now I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to show you and then let you talk about a fitness routine, and then we can do whatever else you want to do or don't want to do. It is all you, as long or as short as you want to do it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, right on. Let me look for where did I put my iPad? I'm just gonna check. Yeah, so fitness routine. I don't need an iPad to talk about that. Um, but yeah, so let's nail in a routine that is sustainable, right? And this is a baseline, right? So this is your baseline. And as we build our as we build our strength levels, right? Um, as we build our strength levels, then it changes. As we build our endurance, it changes, right? But as a baseline, this is what I recommend to my clients is always starting with some type of to start, like if they've never embarked in yoga, we start with simple stretching, and YouTube is a great resource for this. So you can put in YouTube in the search, you can put 5-minute morning stretch. And if you feel more comfortable by putting your age group, you can put that too. You can put beginners, you could put moderate, and starting with 5 minutes. And then as we graduate, right? Graduate as we grow, let's say grow, as we optimize that, then you move up to a 10-minute, right? Or maybe you move into, so you start with just basic, I've had a client, we started with chair stretching. So 5 minutes of chair stretching. And then this person moved on. It became 7 minutes of standing stretching. And then it became 10 minutes of daily yoga, right? So including stretching in your routine is super important because we want to get your joints moving. We want that synovial fluid going. We want, and when we think about longevity, when we think about mobility, if we don't move something, then it's not going to move. Okay, so if one has tightness, let's say tightness in the hands, like arthritis, or what, and you're just like, oh, well, my hands keep getting tighter, and they do keep, and then they cringe, and well, it's because you're not moving them, right? Nothing is, in terms of, I truly believe that like the body wants to heal. So as we start stretching, right? I do hand stretches all the time, right? So getting up to that 10 minutes of daily stretching, right? And if you don't move your body, if you don't focus on mobility and stretching, the basic functions, then you will lose them, especially if you have a neurological degenerative disease like MS. That's what I have. When I go through periods of not moving and not stretching, my body gets weaker and it gets tighter. And so it just shows that with the neuroplasticity of our bodies, it can heal. It can come back. So we got that, like 10 minutes of stretching. Yeah.
And I just want to interject really quickly is that 5 minutes is fine. So if you're at this point right now, and I'm, one of the things again, and I'm sorry to be a broken record about the Peloton, I'm kind of in love with it. Hopefully I'll fall out of love with it, and I'll tell you all about that too. I literally can go in there and I can pick cycling, stretching, yoga, any of those things, but then I can pick how much time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20. And probably after this conversation, I would have felt the same kind of permission, but I felt like it gave me permission to do 5 minutes if all I could do that day was 5 minutes. And that's an important lesson that I've learned over these 24 days, is that even if I want to do 20 minutes of one thing, I can still do 5 minutes of something else that I just want to do. So thank you so much for starting with that, because I feel like so many things start with 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, which when you are out of shape is not attainable. And even for me in the past, because in the past when I've gone to get fit again, I go out and I go to classes. Well, no one's going to pay $25 for a 10-minute or 5-minute yoga class. So they are, 45, 60 minutes. And I would often injure myself doing too much. So thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a strong advocate. I don't work out for hours. I don't support it. I used to work as a track coach. So my first career was a middle school and high school teacher, and I coached track, which I never ran, but I coached it because I like to help. So I'm coaching track, and the head coach said, Racheal, you only ever really need 30 minutes for a full body workout. Don't forget it. And I never forgot it. So the 5 minutes, you start with 5 minutes. You can move to 10. If you really like yoga, you can go to do the longer ones. But I would always recommend that morning stretch, the beginning stretch, and then the next thing. And to touch upon that, I've had clients where our first, like, we just started together. We just made this plan. We're making a plan, and I prescribed them. Sometimes I say I prescribe workouts. I prescribed them 2 minute. Do you hear me? But when I say 2 minute, a 2 minute daily walk. That's great. That's really achievable. It's really sustainable. It's really, and it boosts you. So this is what transformation's about. It's like when we start from wherever we're starting, we want to make these goals achievable and attainable. This life, I say this sometimes, but life is a game. Life is some people might not like it, but life is a game. Life is a joke. Life is an experience. So play with yourself. Allow yourself 2 minutes and then lock it in. Good work, Racheal. I'm so proud of you. You know, like cheer yourself on, right? And so we have the stretch, and then I believe for health and longevity that a 10-minute daily walk is beautiful. I think it's really important and really necessary. So I would throw in some type of walk. And so some folks don't like going outside because it's cold, me, Michigan. You can see, I literally walk to that back door and then back to the front here for 10 minutes when it's snowing out. I just do it. I'm like, okay, we're walking because for me, having multiple sclerosis, I want to walk forever. So I have to walk forever. So I have to do it every single day. So I would do a yoga. I would recommend everyone getting walking in. And if walking isn't for you, let's say maybe you're in a wheelchair, right? Then I would wheel for 10 minutes, whatever your mobility is. Maybe it's with a cane. Then I would hold your cane. Maybe starting at 10 minutes is too long. Start at 5, start at 4. But whatever you're walking, whatever your movement situation is, when we do it regularly, it gets stronger and stronger. So even if you're walking, you know, I've had experiences with MS. It's been up and down all types of ways these past 4 years. Gosh, I've had experiences where I literally, like walking was extremely difficult, and but I knew that if I keep doing this consistently, it's going to get better each day, and it does. So I would put some type of walking in there, and then let's talk about strength training. So lifting weights um, and then we'll talk about like cardio. We'll kind of link that in with walking, cardio, this idea of cardio, heart health. But talking about strength training, I want to recommend there's this couple on YouTube. I just love the YouTube people. But their name is Juice and Toya. And what they do on there, they've got a variety of workouts. And I love it because Juice does the full, like he does it at maximum, and then Toya does it with modifications next to him. And all of their workouts, not all of them, most of their workouts are less than 30 minutes. And so you can get onto their YouTube channel. You can click 15-minute full body strength training workout. And these folks, Juice and Toya, and Cassandra, and then this other person that I'll recommend shortly, the reason I recommend them is because as being a trained and personal trainer, their form is just so beautiful. It's so good. They have really good cues. But for strength training, I'm going to recommend always, right? I would say strength train 2 times a week. And if you can do 3, go ahead and do 3. And I want to talk about a little bit. Some people are like, oh, let's do leg day and let's do armed upper body day.
Yes, I'm so confused. I'm so confused.
Yeah, I don't really support that for folks who are doing it to obtain general health. Okay, so if we're just embarking on this journey to get our feet wet with strength training, I would always do full body. Go ahead and do 20 minutes of full body. So what that means is in 20 minutes, you have hit all the major muscle groups, and that's complete. But let's say you just did legs. Let's say you did your 20 minutes that day and it was leg day. Juice and Toya, you do their leg day. And then let's say you don't feel that awesome for the rest of the week, so you don't want to strength train. Well, then you only did half of your body. But if you did full body, right? Let's say you did full body both times. Well, it's complete both times. Instead of having to stress about, okay, I did legs this day. I'm really tired. I don't feel good. I'm really busy. I'm going to not be able to do upper body. You know, by doing full body each time as a beginner, I think it really allows you to build strength evenly through your whole body instead of just one area at a time.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. And the thing is just on you. I'm actually trying to go in and get all these YouTube links and over in YouTube so everybody can have them.
Oh, awesome.
Now, okay, so I agree with you for sure about this whole full body strength idea. But if I'm doing something like, so if my cardio is spinning, so, and I mean, I think I'm doing okay. I'm still considering myself, I'm letting myself do some lower things, but I'm probably doing between 4 and 5 miles when I'm doing it for about 20 minutes with a warm up and a cool down. Or I'm doing about 20 minutes fast walk. And I've learned my legs must be like a foot shorter than everybody who's teaching these classes, because my legs are going twice as fast as theirs. And they're like, turn it up to 5. And I'm like, dude, I'll get flung across the room. So that's interesting too. So if I'm doing all my cardio is like so intensively lower body, would then I want to, on these 2 to 3 days, balance it out by doing upper body, or am I still doing the full body? Is it still encompassing muscles that I'm not really getting by walking or spinning?
That's a really good question. So walking or spinning, it's different muscles, right? So when you do a full body like weight workout, we'll focus more on strengthening the hips, the quads. It's more acute, whereas like for example, when we're squatting and things like that, it's more direct into your hips, and it's different. So I would still recommend a full body. You're just gonna have some really strong legs. I would still recommend the full body though, for sure.
I love that. Can you remind me real quick, what was the yoga that you liked? Was it Christine?
Cassandra with a
Ca-
K. And then there's another person that's low impact Pilates. And I love all these people because they do short snippets, and their form is just phenomenal. So this other person her name is Cassie Ho, but her channel is Blogalates. So
Yep.
Blogi. And so what she does is, and so if it's triggering, she talks a lot about weight loss and image, kind of. Yeah, she does. She definitely does. That's a disclaimer. But if you ignore what she says, which sometimes I just put music on and like mute her, which is kind of bad, but her form is beautiful, and the moves she does is really strengthening. So the quality of her workouts is, but she also says inspirational stuff, but you can tell she's got some like internalized food problems, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Yikes. But Pilates, low impact Pilates are like if you have knee issues, if you have joint issues, Pilates is a really good direction for strength training to go because it's low impact. There's no jumping. There's no, and sometimes it's even weightless. And Blogalates does a lot if you don't have weights. She'll do like arm curls with just your arms. She makes it really accessible, minus all the talk about what she bought at Trader Joe's and stuff.
You mean like listening to a live with me?
But and she's not plant-based either, so she's buying, milk and
Okay.
talks about ice creams and all that. But her workouts are real good.
I love all this, and this is so helpful. Now, there is one question that fits in right now. Um, Mona,
Oops, lost you, Kathy.
I'm so sorry. I'm like multitasking like a mongoose or something over here. So Mona had a question for us, which is really for you, because I don't know what wall Pilates is. What do we think of wall Pilates, Racheal?
How is wall spelled?
I thought it
Like
was
WALL?
WALL.
Okay. So I don't know what it is, but I'm assuming it's like Pilates with using the wall.
That's what I was
Uh,
thinking.
I love Pilates in general. So if it's like the foundations of Pilates, I think it's really good on the joints. It's really good for your synovial fluid in your joints. And even if you could find hot Pilates, that's even better for your joints too. but I don't know. I've never heard of wall Pilates, but maybe using the wall instead of the floor.
That's what I'm kind of wondering. I mean, it seems because my yoga that I took in my 20s was with a woman named Alvina who used to be a dancer. So she actually did a combo of Pilates and yoga. And I didn't know that till very much later. It was very cool. And so Mona, if you're still on, if you tell us if it's different, because I did find when I did her classes, she had us do certain exercises to build the muscles around the joints, like your knees, to help. She called them knee setters. I think she made up a lot of her own names because she was just kind of doing her thing. This was before Pilates. You went out and got Pilates classes. But we would do these things. They were horrible. But they really helped protect a lot of your body parts I didn't ever think you could protect. And Mona does say, yes, it's Pilates using the wall.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like the wall is a modification. It sounds pretty good, like if it works for you. And this is, just to kind of wrap around to the whole routine and movement stuff. The point of this is that it's got to be pleasurable for you. It's got to be something sustainable, right? By putting like, oh, I have to do an hour a day and it's got to be all this weightlifting and all this cardio and I have to, like, that doesn't make it desirable. So a base, like a thing that I like to set for folks is like, if you tell yourself, hey, I'm going to move my body for 30 minutes a day. And some folks, maybe they start at 5. Like I told you, I had a client start at 2. It's whatever, meets your goals, but optimizing towards that 30-minute mark. And then when you surpass it, it's like more to celebrate and success. But I think the main point is, regardless of what you want to use for your strength training, 2 to 3 times a week, it's important to build that muscle. And like you're riding the bike for the cycle for 30 minutes. Like that's a beautiful way. And finding things that feel good for you. Some people like to kayak. Some people like to.
Cheryl kayaks. So she has kayaks and we have a double kayak. I'm not very good at it. So I'll let everybody see my face when I'm saying this. I don't mind being in it and I love going around the beautiful places. The 2 things I'm not a fan of, one I don't have to do because it's Cheryl, is loading it on and putting, she's so particular about things. So we have the thing we put the kayaks on and then you tie them on, you do this, then you back up. It's just so much time. And then I don't love getting in and out of the kayak. I always feel like I'm just going backwards into the world. I don't know if you're a kayaker and have a tip for me.
I relate to you on the loading. I had one and then I sold it. I was like, we're not putting this on the car. You're never going to take it anywhere, Racheal. Just sell it to someone. You took it somewhere once and that was it.
Well, we have some friends who do it in canoe, so Cheryl will go. Cheryl loves the water and it makes her really happy. So I love that you're talking about stuff like that. She also likes to ride a bike out in the wild, which I'm not interested in.
I need to come and hang out with Cheryl because if she's going to load up the kayaks, I will absolutely kayak. And if she's going to load up the bikes, I'll absolutely bike in the wild. Sounds fun.
Oh, she has no, Cheryl is, so I think she's coming home and that's why the dog's whining. But no, she.
Lost you. Kathy, you're muted.
So I was saying she has all the things. So she got a trailer to hook up to the car that loads 3 kayaks and so she's good with all the accoutrements and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, so come
awesome.
Come visit. And North Carolina's beautiful.
I need to visit all my plant-based friends. I feel like I need to do like a Racheal world tour to visit all my plant-based homies.
I think that sounds
Check
good.
it out.
Apple is saying too, I enjoy my morning walks without my dog because I can visit with the crows and outdoor cats without someone barking at them. And that's something that's
Mm-hmm.
really interesting too, because I feel guilty. Like I feel guilty that Max is whining at the door now. But he'll smell me and he'll give me that, you went out without me sort of look. But if I'm going with Cheryl and Max to walk outside, I'm walking much slower. So it's more recreational. And to kind of give you like, when I'm feeling like I'm strong and I'm on my walking game, I walk about 3 miles an hour, which is probably way slower than most people. But
That's a great rate.
I'm booking it.
No
I'm
need to
like,
compare. No comparing. No comparing. No comparing. That is a great rate. 3 miles an hour is a great rate. That's
well,
a
and
really great rate.
it's hilly. So there's some big hills
Yeah.
too. So like I'm sweating and huffing and puffing and doing all the things, like I'm breathing in and breathing out, taking that next step, So I probably, I'm friends with some people who are runners and stuff. So it's, I know you're not supposed to ever compare yourself, but it's hard. And then I think if you're a runner or a walker, it can be kind of hard to not compare yourself with whoever you're with at that moment. Like I never mind walking slower. I'm 5'1", guys. So everybody is taller than me. So I've been like walking as fast as I can to keep up my whole life. And so it's very interesting. And Kelly's saying she needs to start walking more. And I think some of it is just, if you can find something that's beautiful outside, like now it is both the perfect time and the worst time. It's the perfect time and everything's blooming. There's a lot of pollen here right now. So that's not so awesome. How is it where you are, Racheal?
Last week it was like freezing and there was some snow, and then this week it's like 70 to 80 degrees. So Michigan is like on some type of the same type of thing it's been on since I've been alive, actually. So this is what's going on here,
It,
all over.
yep, and it's been happening here too. So like I think we got our pollen down some so that I can have the doors open. But it's still summer getting ready to go. So as soon as I open up the whole house, my whole house gets covered in yellow tree pollen. And I always try to time it. But it was like freezing the past 3 nights. I had to bring in a bunch of plants because it was going to go to a hard freeze. And then I think today it's supposed to be 80.
Yeah, I cannot.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's finish this. So you said strength. We were talking about the strength training. We've kind of mentioned walking as our cardio and
Walking,
stretching every day.
biking,
Is there
cycling.
anything else you want to add? Obviously, we're adding in there meditating.
Yeah, I think that's a really solid routine to start with as a foundation. Stretching, some type of cardio. I really support the walking, um, and then some type of strength training 2 to 3 times a week. And like, say, for example, you just use yours as a scenario, Kathy, is, you're on the what's that bike called? I want to call it an elliptical, but you called it something else.
The spin bike or the
Yeah, the
treadmill?
Peloton, yeah. Right? So since you're doing that for 30 minutes in your day, like you could do that 5 times a week and then do your strength training 2 times a week. Or if you're feeling extra, and this is just like a general example, plus the 10 minutes of stretching. And if you're feeling extra spicy, maybe you still do the biking, but you cut it to 12 minutes and then you do the strength training, right? It's being flexible, but that's a really good foundation where you're always, the stretching is also for rehab, right? It's a warm up and it's a rehab, and it's stretching. It helps with your mindset. It gets your mind focused because you actually have to sit with the discomfort of stretching. Like stretching's not always comfortable because, everything's tight and you have to sit mentally, right? It makes us stronger mentally to sit with the discomfort. And this is like when I stretch a lot, I will like I kiss myself during yoga. Sometimes I'm just a big self kisser. I kiss my arms, and it's just a way to love yourself. But yeah, that's I think that's it for the foundation of movement.
How are you feeling? I want to check in now. Like, you are welcome to bow out now, to add in a meditation, or to do something, because we've kept you a long time, and I'm sorry. These subjects were just so good, and you had such great answers. So it's almost 3:30 now. So
Oh wow, we just time flies with us. How about that?
I know. That's why I want to offer these things to you, because we could also do another physical thing maybe next week or the week after if you wanted to do that. It's up to you.
Yeah, so let's wrap up this one because at 5 o'clock I do if anyone wants to come, I do a live cooking demo every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. So I'm gonna prepare for that.
Ooh, what you making?
But
Entice us all to be there.
yeah, so for April in my on my channel on my Facebook, Racheal Detroit Coaching, I'm doing raw vegan April. So everything, I'm not a raw vegan, but what I'm doing is I'm going from different countries, right? Raw vegan isn't a country, but different countries and topics of veganism, whole food, plant-based eating, plant-based lifestyle. Like last month, we were doing plant-based Mediterranean. So the whole month, I focused on Mediterranean dishes that were whole food, plant-based, and I did a course on it that I taught a live course. And then this month, April, I decided that I've been eating like way too much everything. I was like, well, let's do raw. And so this month, I've been focusing on like the teachings and the studies and different recipes of raw food. So we're making borscht, which is like a beet soup. And then each month, moving forward, I will do like next month, I think we're gonna go to, I'm gonna release the schedule this weekend, but I think we're gonna go back to Mediterranean, but focus on Italy and Greece and Turkey. And then the month after, we're gonna go to Mexico. Um, so so join me, 5 p.m. We're making borscht.
That sounds great, and I love borscht. I like hot borscht, and I like cold borscht. Have you had chilled one
Yeah,
before?
That's what we're doing today, raw borscht. Nothing
Oh, that's
cooked.
right. I'm so sorry. I'm getting spacey.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a while. We've been on here for a while.
I know, but I love talking to you. So Mona says, what is your time, and is your show on YouTube or Facebook?
5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can find me streaming on YouTube, Racheal Detroit Coaching, and Facebook, which are popular medium. But I'd love more people on YouTube so I could grow that too. But both Racheal Detroit Coaching, Facebook, and YouTube. 5 o'clock.
Oh, awesome. And Plants Only Muncher says, Blogilates sells exercise equipment at Target like yoga mats, dumbbells, and resistance bands. And
Oh, you're muted.
I said, dang it, just in case anyone was reading my lips. I really thank you for being so flexible, and I'm sorry. I'm both happy and sorry that we talked through your exercise today, but I feel like I love where we're going with some of these topics and some of the conversation that's coming out, because I think there's this balance between being neutral and not necessarily talking about some of the problems that are happening. And so I think it's really good to be transparent, and I love that we talked about how to have an exercise routine. We've talked about loving ourselves, body image, so many different things, right? And to start where you're at, which is just gold. So thank you so much for being here, and we will talk some more, and we'll figure out a time that works for you. And I promise not to ask any questions. I will just sit down and do my exercises with Racheal like I'm supposed to.
I loved all of this. So thank you so much. I loved the discussion. I don't mind that we didn't exercise. I think everything happens as it should be. So this was such a beautiful conversation and experience, and I appreciate spending the time with you, all of you.
It was really awesome. And for all of you guys, I tried to look through the comments. That's what I was multitasking while Racheal was talking. So I tried to put all those links into the chat. If I missed something or there's somebody else that you really like, just please put disclaimers if they're like super heavy weight loss or super heavy talking about body size or
Vlog a lot easier.
yeah, and you've done that, you know, or like the one that I put in has strong language and talks about other things that you just may need to just decide if it's for you or not. But please leave those there. We can all use it. It's free. Don't forget, genius place to get cheap exercise equipment. Lots of times you have a used exercise equipment. I think it's Play It Again is here, but I think it's a national company. Also, one of our first exercise bikes that we got was at the thrift store for like $50. So you can get mats, you can get resistance bands, you can get really nice equipment that no one's ever used really cheaply. So you can also use things around your house. So you've got this. I know you do, and I'm so glad that you guys were here with us and hung out, and keep the conversation going, and I'll let you know when Racheal's coming back. So have a great rest of your day, guys.
Bye.